Good afternoon, all. I hope you've had a good day. I had a nice day. I went with my girlfriend to a little Surge, a little indoor trampoline, a local indoor trampoline place, and her kiddos played, and we just sat and chatted, and then we went and got something to eat. And you know, it's just such an interesting community I live in. I'll tell you that. I'm very, very blessed for the connections that I've made up until this point, my genuine connections that I carry. And I'm very blessed for those. And I'm blessed that they see me for who I am, not see me for what they heard. And they actually take into account my actions and my heart and truth. And rather than going along with narratives, rather than going along with whatever, and I greatly am appreciative of all of them. I really, truly am. All those that walk with me, physically, all those that run with me energetically, in my spiritual community, and all those backing me. And I feel you. I really do. I wouldn't make it here today without you guys, and I hope that in return, I can inspire you to go against the social conditionings and the systematic abuse that we all walk through. Every single one of us walk through it. Let me just give a little checkaroos here. I love my conversations with her. Her and I go deep. I'm a very deep person. I'm a deep thinker. And I like to unpack everything as best I can, just to have a better understanding of things. I had a conversation with my mother last night, and then today, my birthday, I have no desire to spend it with my family. I'm just really disappointed in my family right now. It doesn't mean I don't love them. Of course I love them. I always love them, unconditionally, but it doesn't mean that I have to tolerate the abuse. And I have to go along with it. We live in a world right now where we're just so consumed by manipulation and false facades and masks. And you can choose to go along with it, or you can choose to not to. It's totally up to you. You have free will and you have freedom, and we all choose to walk the way we walk. Nobody forces you to be the way that you are. You have control over that. I had to take my control back as well. Based in a life where I had so many moving parts and so many other people controlling it. And all I did was try to move mountains to try to make everybody else happy. And in the end, I wasn't being true to myself by any means, and I own that. I own that completely. But I still move mountains to spread kindness and generosity and genuineness to everybody that I've come in contact with. Even when I was battling my addictions, those are things that I wore inside of me, but it's never anything that I went out of my way to intentionally be deceitful or, hurtful to people and walk all over them. And I have always found myself in different industries now in the last decade of my life where there's just so much corruption. There's so much dirty money. There's so much greed and corruption, and it's just it's hard because that's so much a part of every facet of this world. And so no matter which way you slice it and turn it, you're going to be met with it, and so you have to find that duality inside yourself of what you will and won't allow, what you will and won't tolerate. I wanted to unpack manipulation, because it's really big. It's a big thing, manipulation. And I think once you start to recognize what manipulation looks like, you can then start recognizing when you're being manipulated. And business manipulation, tactic, power through dependency and fear of loss. Gatekeeping information. Managers, executives withhold key knowledge so others might rely on them. Gatekeeping information, that's a big thing when it comes to manipulation. You know, those in power get a taste of power and then they manipulate it so they keep their power. Love bombing, then undermining. Overpraise to build loyalty, followed by criticism to reestablish control. And they do that. I see that everywhere when it comes to, they praise you to build loyalty, followed by criticism and chastising you in front of others. And yeah, there is a way of holding accountability, absolutely, but you do it with a manner of humility and grace and professionalism. I believe it is more than possible. We just choose not to, because those in power like to, I am power, hear me roar. Shifting standards, changing goals and expectations so success always feels out of reach. Exactly. It's like, here's this bag. All right, you got to do this to get to this bag. All right, so you did that. Then you got to dangle a little bit more, and then you got to do a little bit more to get to the bag. And it's like, it's just like dangling the bait and switch. It really is. But then you got to ask yourself, what do you got to do to get to this said bag? You know, what things do you go against your immorals? You know, your morals, your ethics, your values, your dignity, your grace, your humility to get said bag. Exploitation of ethics, wrapping greed in company culture or loyalty to justify questionable behavior, false urgency, focusing or forcing rushed decisions with phrases like, we need this now, don't think, act, you know? And that's the thing with me is like, I was really impulsive when it came to my thoughts and my actions and my words. And it's like, where now I kind of sit on things. I try to the best of my abilities before I respond. Verse, for what shall it profit a man if shall gain the whole world or lose his own soul? Mark 8:36, man. Let me read that again. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? So you gain the whole world, right? That power, that greed, that bag, you know, that abundance. But what do you lose in the meantime? Your soul. Personal life manipulation. I deal with a lot of this. Gaslighting, making you question your memory or perception. That's something they've really worked hard on, to where I would question my memory. I would question my perception of things and make it look as if I'm the one sick or ill. Like, what about me is ill, actually? Inquiring minds would like to know, because I'm a free thinker, because I vocalize different experiences that I have been through based off the things that you guys have so graciously bestowed onto me that you don't want to get out. So because of all these things, I am ill. Well, no, I'm not going to wear that. I'm not going to wear that. You know, I'm sorry you made the choices that you made instead of coming straight to the source. I'm sorry for that. You know why? Because, well, money. Money, money, money. Triangulation, bringing the third person into conflict to create competition and insecurity. I know something about that. Silent treatment, withholding, controlling connections by giving or removing attention. Guilt and pity plays. After all I've done for you, heard that a time or two. As leverage instead of love. Future faking, promising change and commitment to keep you from leaving. Oh, I'm gone like the wind as soon as I can be. Spiritual root, spirit of control and fear of abandonment, counterfeit form of love that seeks ownership, not partnership. That's the thing, is there's no partnership in a lot of these different companies. It's all about ownership and dictatorship. They want to dictate your life so you can run alongside the culture that they set for you. Which runs along immorality, twisting scripture, using verses out of context to guilt or silence questioning, touch not God's anointed. You know, authority as a weapon. So many people use, touch not God's anointed. We're all anointed. All right. As soon as you wake up to recognizing 9/11, as I say that, you wake up to recognizing what you carry inside of you, and you start moving and acting in grace, not only for yourself, but for others, is when you become anointed. But we're all anointed. Every single one of us. You just got to tap into it. And you got to walk by grace, and you got to forgive people. But you do not have to be people's doormats. You do not have to take manipulation. You don't have to take the spoon-fed things that they're feeding us. Fear-based obedience. Teaching that doubt equals rebellion or demonic influence. This is the thing. Idolizing leaders, placing pastors, prophets, or organizations above accountability. So many people, we put these people on the mainstream, these pastors, these mentors, all these different people with all these huge following,